Hello, Bobby Jones here from MeidasTouch and Valor Media Networks. I had a whole video that I wanted to talk about something that has been progressively getting worse in the United States as far as how the military is being used in local law enforcement and how ICE has really taken away from local law enforcement agents. And I will eventually talk about that. But I feel compelled to bring something up that just recently broke here in the news, and I want to directly address it because I have a personal connection to it, but it also answers a question that I keep hearing asked in the United States. So at the time of this recording, it just broke that the head of United States Southern Command, Admiral Alvin Holsey, has decided to step down and retire. Now, why is this unusual? For those who don't know, the United States military breaks up the world into these huge geographic areas called combatant commands. And the largest level that you can have is basically one over a continent. United States Southern Command is over South America and the waters that surround it. Admiral Holsey was in command of the entire military for America in that area. But he's also a Navy man, a Navy aviator by trade. And so he understands the uniqueness of what President Trump, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth wanted done in regards to Venezuela and the drug interdiction mission, as they may be calling it, and how it could be violating certain rules. Since this campaign against Venezuela has begun, you've seen a large amount of United States military activity amassing itself off the coast of Venezuela. You have an amphibious ready group with 2,500 Marines ready to go. You have various surface ships in the Navy that have tons of ordnance. You also had drones in the area, etc. But what has happened has been multiple strikes against small boats conducted by U.S. Special Forces operations. So we're looking at now a total of, believe, 27 Venezuelans killed, who President Trump, Pete Hegseth are saying are narco-terrorists, a new term that they've come up with. Well, the thing about that is international law, especially law of warfare, doesn't really recognize this new thing that they made up. Either they're civilians that should be arrested and apprehended, or they are enemy combatants of a nation state or a declared organized group that the world recognizes and therefore can be attacked. None of that's happened. We don't know what group these people supposedly allegedly belong to, but most importantly, there has been no proof, no process of showing proof, and no authorization from Congress to continue this operation of indiscriminately killing people without proof. As a matter of fact, you have Venezuelan fishermen who live by the sea who are not able to go out and actually do their livelihood because of the fear that they could be indiscriminately killed. Now, why does that matter to Alvin Holsey? Well, because Admiral Holsey is in charge of every American military person in that area of the world. And as someone who knows him personally, I knew that this would not sit well with him. I am not shocked that he has decided to step down instead of being the person ordering these missions on behalf of the president. See, the question that's been asked here recently by many of my friends that are civilians and this, that, and the other, what is the military going to do when they are presented with unlawful orders? Well, I will tell you that the military is going to still try to follow the law. And if they're given an unlawful order, they're going to try not to execute it. Let's go back to Trump's first term in 2017. During that time period, during the Black Lives Matter protests after the George Floyd murder, President Trump wanted General Milley to tell the United States military to shoot protesters in the leg, wound them, shoot at them, turn weapons on them. And General Milley said, hell no, which is why to this day, Trump hates his guts. And they took his portrait down at the Pentagon because he had the nerve and audacity to follow the law. And now a man who, by the way, one of the very few black admirals in the entire United States Navy, you can count him on one hand, literally at his level. As a matter of fact, he's the highest ranking black man in the Navy, decided to take his 37-year career one filled with prestige, combat operations, leadership, and moral courage, and said, no, I will not execute something that I believe is fundamentally wrong. And the reason I think we know this is because the Pentagon and Hegseth were caught off guard. And then they gave a nondescript statement thanking him for his service. They didn't have a response ready to go because they didn't know he was going to step down. The White House at the time of this recording has yet to release a statement as to this. This is the number one thing militarily you have going on in the world. And the man that you wanted to execute it said, no, I'm not doing it. The Navy's motto is honor, courage, and commitment. And Admiral Holsey, over the course of his 37-year career, has done that. But that's not just because he was in the Navy. It's because it's a reflection of the man he is. Okay. Admiral Holsey graduated from Morehouse College. And for those of you around the world who don't know what Morehouse College is an all-boys, historically black college and university in Atlanta, Georgia. It is the school that gave us Dr. Martin Luther King, Maynard Jackson, Spike Lee, Samuel L. Jackson. I can go down the list. And the one thing that they stress there, and I know this because I taught there, is integrity and to be a leader of consequence. And in these times, politically charged, where you have a president who is giving unlawful orders, by many legal experts' estimation, you have a man who said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know, it's interesting. Hegseth hates DEI, this, that, and the other. He fired General C.Q. Brown, another black man who was in charge of the United States military. He was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the number one guy there. And all he did was exude excellence and integrity. And now you have another black man, a 4-star admiral, who is exuding courage. Courage, where it matters most, when it matters most. But you got a problem with some people that look like me in high positions of authority. We should be so lucky. We should be so lucky. And so now the question that everybody keeps asking about the military, are they going to follow these orders? Are they not going to follow these orders? This, that, and the other. You have proof because they have been consistently asked to do illegal things. And at every major turn, the United States military thus far has said no. Go back to that speech about 2 weeks ago where Hegseth got all the admirals and generals together. Admiral Holsey was in that audience. He was there listening, just like everybody else. And just like everybody else, no one said a word. There was no cheering. There was no nothing. Because what people failed to understand about that gathering and why it was so subdued is because every uniformed member in that room understood the seriousness of what was going on. And now, as they went back to their various posts all over the world, they had moral decisions to make. Admiral Holsey made his. And I'm sure there are going to be others that will continue to do so. Heck, we've had many generals here in the last 2 weeks step down. The vice chairman of staff for the United States Air Force. I mean, you can just look and see the people stepping away. And that's not even talking about just the regular rank and file members of the military. They understand that the United States Constitution has limits to it. And they understand that the president of the United States, the commander in chief, the chief executive, whatever you want to call him, is limited by that document. But I want to ask you guys a question. How many of y'all would be willing to sacrifice a career that lasted almost 40 years? You reached the apex. Would you be willing to do it? Are you worried about the fallout from doing it? I'm sure all those thoughts may have ran through Admiral Holsey's mind, but you know what? He made the right decision, the morally and ethically acceptable decision, the one that every leadership conference you go to, they talk about making that decision, but very few actually have to make it. And he made it. And he made it. This continues to shore up my faith in the United States military, in our officer corps, in our leadership. Because at the end of the day, leadership matters. Just think about the world this time last year and compare it to now. Leadership all over the world matters. And in one small action, in one small way, Admiral Alvin Holsey showed what leadership looks like when it was his career that was on the line.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.